Hello YouTube fans, it's your boy Brad here with another video. Hey, my wife and we purchased this 4K Swann security system. I had an old 720p system that we've had for a long time and it was time to upgrade, so I figured I'd just go all the way in a manner of speaking to 4K. You know, of course there's top of the line system. This was from Sam's Club. They had a sale on. But I have a couple problems with a couple cameras that aren't showing up well at night. And I'm going to take you over to the monitor and we're going to take a look at that. And I'm going to show you these two cameras real quick. Alright guys, here's my monitor. You can see all of these cameras here. They kind of basically look fine. These around here, but the two cameras we're dealing with is this one and this one. These here, they look okay, but these two are the two that I'm having problems with. Had contacted the customer service, finally got through to them. Takes a while, but they're really nice. We're in the chat, and I'm going to show you what the guy had me do after we kind of went back and forth. Let me mention again, I have installed these camera systems, if I hadn't already said that before. I've done about 5 security camera systems, so I know how basically how this works and how it comes together and the coax and this and that. But here's what they had me to do. They had me to go in. I'm going to click on this one. Matter of fact, I'll make this one big. Click, and you go into this menu here. And you click on the Ptz setting. Right here. It looks like a little dome camera. And you would never think to do that because, you know, Ptz stands for pan, tilt, zoom. And these are not pan, tilt, zoom cameras. And once you get into here, you have this little toggle thing here on the left hand side, and it says OSD Ptz presets, and it's in the OSD, and you click on this circle in the middle. Now this is your joystick to work around through the menus, so hopefully you can see all this. And so once you click on that, and it brings this up, and it has some settings. Now I believe these are adjusting the processor actually in the camera itself, the chip in the camera itself. So what we want to do, we got to get to this main menu, so we have to use these arrows over here to the left to move around, and we go to the main menu, we click the circle, and now we're in there. Then we come down to reset. And when I click this, it's going to make a bunch of changes because I've already been here and I already changed some parameters inside this camera. But they wanted me to reset the camera. So you click the center here, and it takes just a second, and you'll see everything goes black. And it does all of that, and bam, we have a reset camera. And okay, so now that it's reset, you just right click your mouse and it'll bring you out of that menu. You can double click and get back to the regular menu. Now I'm going to take you outside and show you where this camera is and how it's mounted real quick. Alright guys, here we go. We're outside and try to get the lighting right. Here's where this camera is mounted. You notice there's this hood on it. This is a reshoot because I come to find out I didn't record correctly when I actually did this video, so I had to come out and reshoot this part of the video. But that little cardboard piece that I had, this is actually the foam board that I've already installed on here. But that's where that camera's mounted. You see how it's right up under the lip of the eave there. That is not within the vision of the camera lens, but it is affecting the there's a reflection for some reason coming into that lens. So that's where the camera's mounted. That's in my backyard, and that's what that looks like. All right, guys, we're back. Night has fallen over West Texas, and here's what the cameras look like. Kind of notice all these cameras here. They look okay. And here are the two cameras here that we were talking about earlier. This camera here is the one we're going to be working with the most. This one already has this little hood on it, so it actually looks better than it would usually look. But this one, I took this little hood off. And you kind of notice, you see these rings here. I can even make that bigger. Wow. See how bad that looks? It's just cloudy. But you can see these rings. You can see this inner ring, and then it comes around, kind of looks like an eye. It's just all jacked up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go outside, and the first thing we're going to do is going to put this little cardboard hood on it, and we're going to come back and we're going to take a look at that after that is done. So here we go. Be right back. Alright guys, we have the hood on the camera. We can see that it's not as bad as it was before. I'm going to double click, make it bigger. It still looks bad. And here's another thing. I mean, you can see all of this noise in the camera. And we see a little bit of the hood. Now these cameras, let me mention, these are not infrared cameras. They don't have infrared. What they do have right at the top of the camera, there's these little LEDs. And those LEDs come on at night. This is called their True Color Night Vision camera, which I'm not really crazy about. If I had really known that, I probably went with the previous model that they had. But I kind of, you know, the black and white infrared would have been fine. But this is their True Color Night Vision. That's why all of the cameras, if you notice here, are in color, because there's these little LEDs that come on. Now, like I say, if you look at these other cameras, and like I say, in this camera right here, we put the hood on it, and like I say, there's some reflection from the white paint. But the weird thing is, here's a camera at my front door. And you can see it has this lip at my front door. Kind of hard to explain. But the camera's mounted up on this ceiling behind this lip. There's my front door over here to the left. And even this isn't shot, but that camera doesn't look bad at all. You know, the camera looks fine, which doesn't make sense why these look so bad. I'll go to this one. It looks kind of jacked up too. So the next thing I'm going to do, we're going to leave the hood on the camera, and we're going to go back into this PTZ thing. And this is something I noticed that helped improve the look. I don't know if it's a bad camera or not, but we're going to go back into the PTZ thing. We're going to, again, we're in the OSD. We click on the center circle thing here. We go down to the menu by using the arrows. We're in the menu. Well, click it again. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep wanting to click over here. You got to click on these little circle. We're in the menu. And in here, let me see. I went to, let's see here. What does this do? Well, I keep wanting to click on there. You got to click on here. There's some different settings here. I go to the left. and it changes settings there. We're going to go back to the center. We're going to go down to return, and I'm going to go up one to the AE mode. And here's where I was able to make a difference. This shows exposure here at the top. There's some other information here. Probably have to play around this some more. But if I go to gain, and if I change it to medium, and there's low. So that's bringing the gain down. Medium, back to high, back to low. See, that's what that does. I'm going to leave it on high. We're going to take a look at the wide dynamic range, and we'll turn it on. Off. And that actually makes a slight improvement. So we're going to turn wide dynamic range on, which to me, usually when I'm dealing with cameras, I like the wide dynamic range on. It brings up the shadows, and we're going to turn this to medium. So now we got wide dynamic range on, and we got medium. We're going to come down back here to return, and let me see. We're going to save those settings. So we'll go all the way down, past exit to save and exit. I'm going to save that setting. Now I'm going to click, right click, double click, open this back up. Trying to get to the camera menu. To the camera's menu here, and I want to go to color settings, because it's kind of washed out. So I'm going to bring up the saturation. So if I bring it down this way, you see it goes kind of black and white. So bring up the saturation some. It doesn't, you have to move it, then release it. And I'm going to bring up the contrast a little bit. Might be a little bit too much. And we're going to save that. Hit OK. Close that. And back out. Now if we compare this image here on number 5 to what it was before, that does look better. It has less, if I double click on it, it has less of that noise, that noise like this camera does. It's full of noise. And since while we're here, let's go ahead and play with this camera here also. So we'll go into the Ptz settings and click the little circle. Go down to the main menu. Hopefully you guys can see that. We go down to, well, I think it's AE. Was it AE? Right? Yeah. And we will change the gain to medium, high. Just kind of want you to see the difference. Back down to medium. The white dynamics range is on this camera because probably I turned it on yesterday when I was playing around with this. So we're going to go down to return, and we're going to go down to save and exit here. What is presets? Like I said, there's some other stuff in here that I have not messed with. And it's more for PTZ cameras, focusing, iris. These cameras don't have focusing and zoom and all these other features. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click again to bring this menu up. We're going to go to color settings, and I think I've already changed this. Matter of fact, I'm going to click on default. Yep. And yes, I had changed them. So I'm just going to click close without saving, and that'll leave those default settings that I set in there. And we'll come out. You know what? But basically, I will tweak this one a little bit more. In this camera, you still see a little bit of that iris look. There's a little bit. It's just slight. But one thing that I'm going to do is get some black foam board or black foam type stuff and make a hood for both of these cameras and leave it at that. Again, we saw them during the daytime. They look just fine. But at nighttime, like I said, they look really bad. So just want to show you that, guys. If anybody knows something I don't know about this or I'm missing or whatever, please let me know. I have tried switching around power supplies on this to make sure there wasn't a power supply issue. Usually if there's a power supply issue, you usually get lines or you get you know, digital interference, you get waves, stuff like that. So I don't know why these cameras look like they do, but that's what I come up with, and just kind of want to put something out there because I didn't see anything on the internet or on YouTube concerning these cameras and these settings, but just wanted you guys to see that there is a menu that actually takes you into the processor, which I believe that's the processor inside the camera, not the processor. This main menu over here, your setup menu, inside your DVR. So again, guys, if somebody knows something I don't know, let me know. Hey, if you like what you see, please click the like button. If you want to, of course, you can always subscribe to my channel. Y'all have a blessed day.